Okay. And now, first, I'm going to pass it off to Jessica.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to give a brief introduction. My name is Jessica. I work with Gear Up at UNLV. So, really quick, if in the chat you don't mind dropping for me what high school you went to, and then if you've ever heard of Gear Up before, you can put a thumbs up or a thumbs down. This just helps us to know who is familiar with Gear Up. Gear Up is a program that helps students get ready for college and options for kind of their future career after high school. So that's what I do here at UNLV. I work with Chanel and her team with first year experience programming and helping students have a great first year at UNLV. So that's a little bit about Gear Up. If you have questions, I will also be here to help answer those in the chat. And we are excited to talk more about you coming to UNLV. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Now I am going to pass it to Michaelin to talk about housing today.
Right. Hi, everyone. My name is McKaylin, and I'm the operations coordinator for the Office of Housing and Residential Life here on campus. Okay. Before I kind of get started with all of our information here, in the event that you have any questions that you would like to ask, feel free to go ahead and put them down in the group chat. And then as we kind of reach the end of the presentation, I'll go ahead and answer those out loud for everyone, especially as they can be very useful. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into all the information. Right. So starting off with our first slide, this is just a snapshot of the residence hall area here on campus. Highlighted in green, we have Tonopah Complex. Highlighted in yellow is our upper class complex. Highlighted in red is South Complex, and then highlighted in blue is Dayton Complex. We will dive a little bit deeper into each complex in just a second, but I wanted to talk about a couple other buildings that are within the immediate vicinity of the residence hall area. So of course, the first one kind of on that center of your screen there is the Student Rec and Wellness Center. All students at UNLV have a free gym membership essentially at the rec center, and they have all of the fitness equipment that you can think of. You know, cardio machines, they have weights, they have a basketball court, volleyball court, they have a track, they have some free rooms if you want to just have like a quieter area or take some group classes. They have a lot going on in there. Then on the wellness center side of things, they do have a pharmacy as well as a clinic and other resources in the event you need to utilize them. Next, we have the Student Services Complex, and this one is home to all of the very big important offices here on campus that you often talk to before the semester begins. And this is usually admissions, registrar, financial aid, cashiering, and student accounts. But we also just opened up a credit union this past year in the Student Services Complex. So if you are coming far from home and you're not sure what available banking options are most convenient to you, it might be worth a shot going over to the Rebel Credit Union. Then, of course, we have the Thomas and Mack Center. A lot goes on there throughout the year, but especially it's known for basketball season. So you as a student also get free athletic tickets just for yourself, but it is a lot better than having to pay like myself. So Thomas Mack Center will be a very important area for you here on campus. Then, of course, we have the dining commons. So when you live on campus, you are required to have a meal plan with that. And we'll talk about what your options are in a couple slides. But the dining commons is very close by. If you live in Tonopah Complex, you are directly across from it. And then if you're living in Dayton or South Complex, it's just a little 5-minute walk there, so not far at all. So before I dive deeper into a lot of the other information, there are a couple updates that many of you are aware of, some of you are not aware of. So to just lay them all out here for you, Tonopah North, which is actually the building my office is located in, is going to be closed for fall 2026 for multiple renovation projects. These projects consist of fixing up our elevators so that they're not slow, laggy, or people getting stuck in them. We want to make sure that you guys are safe and have well-functioning facilities. Same thing with the carpet in the hallways and the study rooms. We want to make sure that it is fresh and ready for you to arrive. There's also the piping infrastructure that we're working on. So the backstory to this is Tonopah North is the original on-campus residence hall at UNLV. So it is very, very old. And with that being said, a lot of the rooms in this building still have its original piping, which does not age well over time. So due to that, we have finally gotten the approvals to move forward with this project and replace all the piping so that it is one that can last for many more years to come. And then we are also working on the air conditioning and heating systems so that, again, our residents can have facilities that are way more updated and keep our residents happy. Now, Tonopah North is just going to be closed, but Tonopah South Center, which on the picture there is the L-shaped part of the building in the green highlighted one, is still going to be open and fully operating well into the fall semester. So they will still be open. Our front desk will still be there, as well as our residential mailroom. It is just Tonopah North that's going to be closed. And then we will reopen Tonopah North spring of 2027. Otherwise, there were several academic theme communities located in Tonopah North that are being relocated due to the renovation projects into South Complex, and that's on your screen right there as well. So these theme communities will remain in South Complex for the entire academic year, but they will go back into Tonopah North for the fall 2027 academic year. So keep that in mind for any future thinking. With that being said, though, we did not want to lose out on any opportunity to house our residents. A lot of them do see the value in living on campus, the convenience of it, the independence of being here on campus and away from family. So because of that, we decided to increase occupancy in Dayton Complex and turning our doubles and triples into triples and quads. So it overall expands our first year experience community. It just allows a lot more first year students to come onto campus to enjoy their first year all together, make memories, and really get integrated into the UNLV community. But of course, it's never easy living with someone. So we do have professional housing staff members that are going to be stationed in Dayton Complex to assist you with any issues that may pop up during the semester at any time. So there's someone always available to assist you. But we also have some scholarships added too. So when we look at the pricing in just a few slides, please note that there is going to be a scholarship depending on if you are living in a Dayton triple or a Dayton quad. For the triples, each student living in a triple receives $130, and then each student living in a quad gets $440. All right, so jumping into our first complex here, we have Dayton. So Dayton traditionally holds about 500 students, but again, as we are increasing that occupancy, it's going to be about like 650. And this building is only for first year students, so only for our traditional freshmen, which is an exciting thing. It is really nice to be with other freshmen who are going through the same experiences as you and be able to make those memories, right? As you meet new people, make new friends, etc. For this, it has an immersive first year experience community, and all first year residents here within housing are opted into programming and resources from the FYE office. So it's really exciting that we are expanding this program even more, and we'll see what we mean by more in just a few slides. And Dayton Complex is also very unique because it is the only building that we have on campus that has a resident-only computer lounge. So we have a lot of residents. There are a lot of different computer lounges on campus, but when you're thinking about the convenience factor, you probably want to use one that's not as busy. The way we see it is when midterms and finals week comes along and everybody flocks to campus to study all at once and they're occupying all the tables, all the computers, etc. We want to make sure that our residents do have something for them. This computer lab is also open just as late as the library, so that convenience factor, of course, is always there, and especially for our residents who may not feel comfortable when the sun sets earlier in the day to walk all the way to the library and back. If you're in Dayton, you are right there. Okay, moving on to Tonopah Complex. So Tonopah Complex is one of the largest residence halls we have here on campus, and it contains the epicenter of our on-campus housing population. For this, we truly mean it. A lot of our students love living in Tonopah because how conveniently located it is to the rest of campus. For example, you're in front of the dining commons, the bookstore and the student union are not that far away. And depending on certain majors, so if you are a business or hospitality major, the main building where most of your professors are and your classes will be are actually right across the tiny parking lot between Tonopah Complex and those buildings. So it is definitely convenient if you don't want to walk far in this heat. Same thing if you have classes on the far side of campus, you're a fine arts major, engineering, or health sciences. You are on the far side and it is quite a walk, so a lot of our upperclassmen tend to choose Tonopah Complex again so they don't have to walk as far. For this building, you heard me mention upperclassmen, and it means that this building is home to students of all class standings. Freshmen are able to live here as well as our upperclassmen, whether that's our second year students going all the way up. This is a building that can be a home to anybody. For this one as well, we do have many themed communities in partnership with various academic colleges. Now, remember some of those updates about Tonopah North, they're being relocated to South Complex for this coming year, and that is okay, but they will return back to Tonopah fall 2027. And of course, we do have an esports gaming lounge. So if you love to play games on your computer at home, you don't need to bring your computers with you. Once you move in, we do actually have an esports gaming lounge that is open pretty late at night to play the games that we have pre-installed and paid for so that you all can utilize it, as well as still having access to the internet so that you can log onto your Steam accounts, play your games there, or any other platform that you use to game. Next is South Complex. South Complex is very similar to Tonopah, which again, it is home to students of all class standings. Again, freshmen, upperclassmen, maybe even some graduate students. There are spaces available for anyone who wants to live there. But what makes South Complex so exciting is a few different things. We have some special theme communities in there in partnership with, of course, the First Year Experience Office, as well as the Office of Student Connection and Engagement. For these, we will talk about it a little bit more in depth as we hit the next few slides. But a couple other things about South Complex is, to me, it has a very aesthetic appeal to it. In South Complex, they have a lot more wide-spaced areas indoors for students to socialize in, play games in, as well as study in. Their study rooms and their social areas are separated, so there's a lot of opportunity to either isolate yourself if you do want to focus on your academics, or when you want to socialize with your large group of friends, as many students have them, you can go ahead and do so very easily. Now, South Complex is also very different because of how the room looks on the inside. So you can sort of see it in the picture there, but the flooring in South Complex, instead of the carpeting we have in the rest of our buildings, it is the only one that has a hardwood vinyl flooring. So when you are responsible for cleaning up after yourself, you may want to think about what is most convenient to me to be able to clean something. So if you spill your coffee or your ramen on the floor, is it easier for you to just wipe it up with some paper towels or figure out how to not get the stains soaked into the carpet type of question. The lighting fixtures are also different in South Complex. On the walls, you can see right there in the picture that it is only on the wall. Meanwhile, in the rest of our complexes, you have your standard overhead ceiling lights. All right, so these are the floor plans for fall 2026 only. Um, Once we hit spring 2027, the Dayton triple and the Dayton quad will be reverted back into their double and triple format. So remember, these triples and quads are just temporary for the fall term, and more instruction about our transition out of that will be sent later in the semester. But you can see the measurements of each room, and you can see kind of how the furniture is supposed to be laid out, but you can arrange it as well. One thing I did want to point out for the Dayton triples is that you don't see as much furniture because the desks and the dressers are actually going to be located underneath the bed. So the Dayton triples are the only beds that are lofted. The rest of the beds in these floor plans have its original height. One more complex I want to talk about before we jump into the rest of our information is our upper class complex. So this one right here is reserved for our upper class students and graduate residents. Now, upperclassmen for us here means you're a second year student and up, and this is based off of when you graduated high school. So you had to have graduated high school at least a year ago in order to qualify. But I did want to talk about this because it is our most popular complex. And the main reason is because you have a personal living room area and a full-size bed. In those floor plans, you might have seen that it was a decently sized room. I actually lived there when I was a student here at UNLV, and I enjoyed it. They provided everything, the furniture, even on the living room side, they gave you a little flat screen TV and a couch to go with it. It was great. It is also the only building that comes with a communal kitchen. The rest of the residence halls that we have here don't have any communal kitchens, but there are communal microwaves instead. And then you also have a shared balcony with your suite mate next door. It is also the only building that has single room accommodations, meaning that you do not have a roommate, but you still have a suite mate next door. It kind of just gives that more elevated style of living, and especially if you're someone who doesn't want to commit to a full 12-month lease, this is a good in-between step for that because it offers an apartment style type of environment without, again, committing to those leases and having all of those additional utility fees that many of them charge for. So I did want to talk about those theme communities I mentioned. Now we do have one left in Tonopah Complex, and this is our all women's floor. For this floor, only our women can live on there. Of course, their friends who are men are more than welcome to come and visit, say hello, but they're just not able to choose to live on that floor. In South Complex, we have pretty much all of the other theme communities in there this coming year, again, due to those renovations and the floors being affected by that and relocated to South is engineering, fine arts, hospitality, the honors college, and the study intensive floors. So for these floors, again, it is only a temporary arrangement. Fall 2027, they will go back to Tonopah North. Otherwise, one big thing to note for engineering, fine arts, hospitality, and the honors college, you do have to be part of that specific program to qualify to live on that floor. So if you're not sure, if you are sure, and you didn't know about it before and want to be added to that floor, feel free to email our office and we can go ahead and put that request in. Otherwise, we have our first year experience theme community here in South Complex as well. Again, it is that extension piece. So the first year experience theme community actually came first, and then we decided to expand into Dayton Complex next. So it was really exciting to be able to see our first year students have that sense of community. And there was also a satellite office directly in that building too. So right outside the hallway of that floor, there is a office where a representative from the FYE office will be there to assist the students in whatever they may need, whatever questions or support as well. Very exciting stuff there. Then we have our other partnerships with the Office of Student Connection and Engagement. For this, we have Howelltown, which caters towards our Black and African American scholars. We have Stonewall Suites for those part of the LGBTQIA plus community, and then Lokahi catering towards those who are Pacific Islander or Asian American. But for these 3 floors as well, they are open to anybody who wants to live there. We just ask that, you are respectful and understanding of the individuals who are on that floor, their background, their history, their culture, basically anything that makes them who they are. Then for anyone who are upperclassmen or for any future thinking, in UCC, we do have a floor designated for graduate students and students who are at least 23 years old and going up from there. A cool little backstory, one of my suite mates for one semester was 78 years old. She wanted to experience college for the first time and she had fun. I will say that. My friends and I gave her a lot of fun times being a college student. So, yeah, it was wonderful. Then, of course, we also have Global Gateway. So, Global Gateway is catered towards our international student population. It offers them support if they need it, especially as they're navigating college life here in the US. So, that is also another opportunity. Moving into our amenities, we have a lot. So for our amenities here, we do have academic resources, and one just opened up this past fall, and it is called our Rebel Learning Lounge. The Rebel Learning Lounge is open during non-traditional business hours, so from Sunday to Thursday, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., students are able to stop by and receive assistance in multiple areas, such as tutoring, peer mentoring, as well as success coaching. Very exciting stuff over there. And we encourage all of our students to check it out. They do have giveaways sometimes, passports, they put on a lot of programs. It's just a really great environment to be in. Then we have free laundry. Who doesn't like to hear the word free? With our laundry machines, you don't have to pay at all. You don't have to tap to pay or put coins inside. It is completely free. You just need to provide your own laundry supplies. We also have high-speed Wi-Fi. It is the same network that's connected to the rest of campus, so no matter where you go, you always have high connectivity. And within the residence halls, there's a router in every common area and then every other resident room. Then we have something called Apogee, and this is a premium streaming cable service for any device. And I know while cable isn't a popular thing anymore, it does become extremely useful to have, especially when sports seasons come up and you don't want to pay for ESPN Premium or the Disney Plus subscription or whatever else you may need. It is strictly for the students to use for free. So feel free to use it once football season comes around, right? We also have gaming device connectivity inside the resident rooms as well. With this, there are direct hookups in the wall for the students to utilize. So if you would like to bring your devices from home, you can go ahead and do so. We also have an upgraded mail locker system. So instead of a PO box and key, we do have one that operates similarly to the Amazon style lockers, where when we receive your mail and packages, we'll put it into those lockers. And you have any time within a 5-day period to pick up your items with a code that is sent to your Rebel Mail account and also sent to you as a text message. Then I mentioned it with South Complex, but our other buildings also have a variety of social, gaming, and study lounges. And you can kind of see in one of the photos some residents playing pool. We have several pool tables across our residence halls, and it's really exciting because the residents love to play. And some of the RAs also hold competitions. So that's always something to look out for. We also have a few outdoor activity areas. We have 2 basketball courts and 2 volleyball courts, as well as a shared lawn between Dayton Complex and the rec center that you can use for just about anything you would like. Then we have secure building and room access. So once you are checked in for the semester, you actually have special access put onto your Rebel card. Most of the students have limited access, but for our residents, you are only given access to the building that you live in and the room that you live in. That way, we are able to keep the residence halls as secure as possible. Then we also have 24/7 available on-site staff here to help you as well. So from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., we have our desk staff who sits at each complex front desk to assist you with anything you may need. It can be common questions, things like directions, if you have questions about your mailing address, etc. If you lock yourself out of your room, we can issue you a temp key. If you want to use some of our equipment, we have that too. We have vacuums, Swiffers, dustpan and brooms. We have some moving bins, some hand trucks too. So we have a lot of equipment for you to utilize, again, for free. But once we close at 7 p.m., there are a couple different groups that come on. So one group is our student security team. They are on site outside the entrances of each building from 7 p.m. to 12 a.m., making sure that when you're walking up to the building, we see a Rebel card, we can identify that the Rebel card does belong to you, and that we will make sure that you tap your Rebel card onto the building's reader so that the building lets you in. And especially if there's any issue with that, we will stop and ask additional questions. Then we have other on-call personnel that is technically on call, starting at 5 p.m. and going all the way until 8 a.m. the next morning. And for this, it's the resident assistants on duty. They can also help you out if you lock yourself out of your room as well, or if there's a situation that you need assistance with, they are your go-to people. We also have coordinators on call in the event a situation does need to be escalated up the chain, and as well as emergency maintenance on call. All right. Moving into this, so you kind of saw it in the floor plans earlier, but all of the rooms that we have here on campus are suite styled rooms, meaning that there are shared bathrooms between the two adjoining suites. And for these, it just makes it a lot more convenient. People enjoy that a lot more than having communal bathrooms. So take that as a plus, and there's some pictures of the restroom in the slide. And then we do provide furniture at the very basic level. So we provide you with a mattress, and depending on what complex you live in, it's either going to be a twin-sized mattress or a full-sized mattress. And then of course, you're also provided with a bed frame that will accommodate the appropriate mattress size. For all buildings, you can raise or lower your bed frame, but it can only go up to 3 feet maximum. For the Dayton triples, for anyone that may be assigned to a Dayton triple, just keep in mind that for those, they are lofted, so they're actually at a 6-foot maximum height. We do not recommend you lower those. We would recommend that you keep them up at the 6-foot maximum height, just so that our stabilizers are set. You are also provided with a desk with drawers, a desk chair, depending on what building you live in, a wardrobe or closet, and then an additional 3-drawer dresser. All right, so dining. Like I mentioned earlier, when you live on campus, you are required to have a meal plan with that. And there are a bunch of different ways to utilize your meal swipes. Your meal plan. First is with swipes, and it's going to be at the dining commons. And once you enter the dining commons, it is an all-you-can-dine buffet style type of environment. And I'm not kidding, they have just about any type of food that you can think of. They have sandwiches, they have salad bars, they have fruits, they have soup, they have pizza, burgers, and fries. They have home-cooked meals, meals that are vegan and vegetarian friendly. They have some that cross into global and international meal palettes. They have breakfast items, they have desserts and a soft serve machine, and they do have several events going on throughout the semesters to celebrate different things. It can be like Mardi Gras is one that we do a lot, or it can also be something like National Pie Day. So they do a lot in there. But you can also technically utilize a meal swipe in the form as a meal exchange. For this, it can only be utilized at 4 locations on campus, and this is the UNLV Eats Market, Greens to Go, Subway, and Halal Shack. And how it works is with one meal swipe, you are able to get an entree, side, and a drink that is already pre-established from that business directly on campus. Then you have dining dollars to use at any other location across campus. This also does include the UNLV Eats Market, which is essentially a convenience store on campus. With these dining dollars, again, you can utilize it anywhere else. We have a Panera Bread on the far side of campus from where the residence halls are. There is something called Shake Smart that has protein shakes and bowls in the rec center. We do have a new fast casual restaurant on campus called Scarlet Sage that you can also utilize them at, as well as the Coffee Bean in the library. So again, there's many, many options. So for costs and requirements, I won't spend too much time on this, but on the far right column, the semester cost is listed. For anyone that will be living in Dayton, please keep in mind that the semester cost right there is not fully finalized. You will have that scholarship amount applied to you around August through your My UNLV account. So if you're kind of figuring out your finances, make sure to put a pin in that scholarship amount there. Otherwise, South Complex is the most cost affordable option for many of our residents. And then if you do have a single room accommodation, it is the most expensive because you do not have a roommate. For the meal plan costs as well, the amount listed is per semester, and the meal plan I highlight a lot because it is the most popular amongst our residents is Grade Plus. For this, you have 14 meal swipes a week to use either at the dining commons or as a meal exchange, and then you have 350 dining dollars to use anywhere else on campus. So it is nice to see the different options. A couple important bits of information here as we begin to wrap up this part of the presentation. But if you are a first-year student graduating from a high school outside of these specific cities, more so Clark County overall and Pahrump, and you're taking at least 6 credits, on your My UNLV accounts to-do list, you do have this item to fulfill, and it's called the first year on campus housing requirement. This just means you are required to live on campus for your entire first year, and this is only counting the fall and spring semester as outlined in UNLV's academic calendar. And part of this requirement also heavily affects WUI if you are going to be a recipient of that scholarship. Their only main criteria is to fulfill that first year on campus housing requirement. And if you don't fulfill that requirement, you may forfeit scholarship eligibility. So we do want to make sure that before any decisions are made, you do discuss it with our office as well as financial aid. Right, so applying and next steps. If you're sitting here and you're like, oh my gosh, I have not applied for housing and I am required to, or housing sounds really cool and I want to be in that community, you still have the opportunity to apply. If you follow that URL on the first bullet point, it'll take you to our website and you can click the apply button directly on that first message on the screen. And there are some steps for you to log in. We've just condensed them for you on the screen here, but the biggest thing is to make sure you do have access to your ACE account to log in, as well as Okta Verified for that second factor authorization stuff. Then once you go through the entire application, the last thing is, of course, to submit it and then pay the one-time fee of $825. We truly mean it's a one-time fee. If you move off campus and you decide to move back on campus at any point, we do have those digital records of your previous payment for the housing application, so you won't ever have to pay for it again. You will be able to bypass it from that point on. Now, another important thing is a parental verification. So if you are not 18 as you're signing this housing application, you do need to provide a parent or legal guardian's email to also co-sign on this application. And that is a big step to make sure that your application is successfully marked as complete. Now, there were 2 really big important dates. So our application has something called a rolling deadline, meaning that it doesn't actually have a hard deadline where it fully closes, but there are some priority deadlines instead. And the first one that passed was on June 1st. And this was to participate in roommate matching, where it's kind of like an online dating process where you get to talk to and meet people who are similar to you and figure out, are we cool enough to live together type of thing. And after that, there was a room selection process where they got to choose exactly where they wanted to live in. But we have closed that period and we are starting to finalize housing information. The next date that has passed was July 1st to be guaranteed a housing assignment. Once this date passed, we couldn't guarantee certain preferences, requests, or accommodations. For example, some of our theme communities, some of the certain complexes or floors, etc. Just because at this point we are prioritizing students who have requirements to live on campus. So if you're not sure, just go ahead, check your My UNLV account, see if you're on that to-do list item. Very, very important stuff there. Otherwise, we do still have plenty of spaces available to house students. So if you're listening to this and you're not required, you can still apply and we will still be able to get you situated for this coming fall. Other than that, students who already have their housing assignment for the fall already received a lot of this information. And the biggest one is when they're supposed to move in. And their move-in date is scheduled for Sunday, August 16th, when we are fully open for them to move in before they participate in Rebel Ready Week starting Monday, August 17th. We have already emailed our move-in guide to their Rebel Mail account, so your student email account. And this has a bunch of different information. So it has general move-in information, what it looks like, a schedule based on what complex and floor you live on, a campus map, as well as how to park, and especially the flow of traffic that day so that our families don't get lost, as well as roommate and suite mate information for you to start making those connections, talking to them, figuring out how you want to coordinate things for the room, such as I would rather live closest to the door or to the window. Do we want to pitch in costs for some shared items, etc., as well as a packing list, what you are supposed to bring with you and what you have to leave home because we don't allow it, as well as other helpful information such as what mailing address you have to send items to because we are allowing pre-shipping. Otherwise, we do pay for a moving company to help the families unload their vehicles as they arrive. We want as little stress on the families as much as possible just to make sure that this experience is one that they can reflect on with happy memories. And then, of course, it is Las Vegas. It is always super hot. So just make sure you stay hydrated and you're dressed comfortably. We will have refreshment stations with water and some snacks as well. So yeah, that is all of the information that I had to talk about here. We are open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.,
Well, that's
as
us.
well as our email addresses on the screen, our social media, and that QR code will take you to our link tree if you want to be able to have the information with you digitally. So that concludes all of the information that I had to present on. So let me go ahead